Hi again, everyone. This is Dawn with The Healer's Way, and we're having another interview today with yoga teacher Laura Brown. Laura is the founder and director of the Flagstaff Yoga Festival. She's in Flagstaff, Arizona, and she's a certified Kundalini and Iyengar-inspired eclectic yoga teacher. Laura, welcome, and thank you for being here with me today for this little interview.
Thanks for having me, Dawn. It's a pleasure.
Great. So would you tell our listeners a little bit about how you got involved in yoga in the first place?
Sure, yeah. The first time I was ever introduced to yoga, I was actually 18 years old. I'm now 34, so I've been doing yoga for, 16 years? Something like that. And the main reason that I got into yoga in the first place was I wasn't in my body, and I never really had been. I suffered from asthma as a child and scoliosis, I found out later. So physical activity just wasn't my forte. And as a waitress at age 18, I was just starting to hurt and feel kind of like an old lady, which was silly in my back, especially. So, yeah, so I found yoga. I didn't really know the difference between one form of yoga and another when I first got started. So what ended up as my first yoga was actually Kundalini yoga when I was 18. Yeah. And that's a fair bit different than other schools of yoga out there. Instead of like just stretchy yoga, it's very kind of movement based, but it's like you're doing movements in your spine and to move lymph up and down and all sorts of things like this that in a very gentle way stimulate activity in your body, but it didn't aggravate my asthma or my scoliosis. So it's a much more energetically focused type of yoga, I guess.
Yeah, I've taken a couple of Kundalini classes a long time ago, and I liked the experience. But didn't really pursue it. So now I'm looking forward because I'm going to be visiting you this winter. So I'm looking forward to doing some yoga with you. And what you my listeners won't know, what you've said before, is that you teach very mellow yoga for, how did you say it? Yoga for. There was a way you said.
I just call it lazy yoga, Dawn.
Lazy yoga. So it's really not about being a Gumby.
No, it isn't. In fact, even though I find that in my own body I'm quite flexible and with more of the bendy, stretchy hatha yoga, which is different from Kundalini, that stretchiness is admired in the yoga world, and it will always make the cover of Yoga Journal and all sorts of things like that. But it's actually not really what I wished were happening in my body. I don't have the strength, really, going into that type of really Gumby kind of, model on the cover of a magazine looking yoga to really do my body a service. In fact, the overly flexible yogis that you see on magazine covers can actually be injuring their bodies. Much more important to build a quiet, strong strength in your body, and resilience and other benefits that yoga can give you. Flexibility is one of the it's a nice benefit to have. It's a nice kind of side benefit to yoga, but it certainly isn't the primary benefit or criteria that I would say that people need to do yoga. And we hear that all the time as teachers, by the way. We hear people come in and say, oh, I can't actually, do yoga because I'm not flexible. And we're just like, but that's the point. That's where you get to after, being not flexible is one of the reasons to take up yoga.
Yeah, but I love what you say about quiet, strong strength too, and core strength, and a sense of connection with yourself. That's wonderful. Okay, so Laura, you also have a background in Iyengar, so would you just talk quickly a little bit about that so people understand how that relates to the body, and especially for people with injuries?
Absolutely. It's the best yoga out there for people with injuries because it's a really healing type of yoga. BKS Iyengar, the founder of Iyengar Yoga, was actually introduced to yoga from TKV Desikachar in India, specifically because his body was in really bad shape. He had some body issues that, everyone kind of thought he was just going to be in a wheelchair when he was grown.
Wow.
And the type of yoga that came to Iyengar and he started teaching doing is a yoga that can realign the body from the inside out, using the feedback of props and things to kind of use your musculature to sort of reshape your body, by getting into poses and having a real focus on the alignment of the physical form, rather than the energy of a vinyasa class or something. This is a very I don't want to say passive class, but very often in Iyengar, it's easy to go to an Iyengar class and literally just focus on like 3 poses for the entire class, and they will, guide you in the alignment of that pose in such a detailed way that it can really reshape your body. For someone with scoliosis, Iyengar yoga has just been invaluable to me. It's really helped reduce my curvature of my spine, and one of my main teachers, Elise Browning Miller, runs yoga for scoliosis, and she actually prevented a surgery for scoliosis because of her study of Iyengar yoga with both BKS and Gita Iyengar.
Wow. Oh, that's wonderful. I didn't realize you could actually reshape your spine. That's incredible. But I would have never guessed, knowing you personally, I would have never guessed that you had scoliosis. So obviously it's working. That's wonderful. Cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
So just to finish up here, you have an offer for the Healer's Way community. So would you share what that is?
So I was thinking a little bit about how, if someone were just first coming to yoga for the first time ever, what would be the best thing for them to get introduced to first? Would it be a vinyasa class? No, not really. Would it even be Kundalini where I started? Looking back, no, that wouldn't have been the first yoga I did either. What Iyengar is actually very focused on, although it's kind of so fundamental that he doesn't really go into it much in trainings, is pranayama, which is the work of the breath. It's the yoga of the breath. So the breath work of yoga comes before the asana of the yoga, which is the physical movement. You control your breath first. And so pranayama exercises are just like this wonderful tonic to begin your yoga practice with, even before you start any of the physical asana. Focus on the breath work first. So that's exactly what I put together for you. It's on a hidden page of FlagstaffYogaFestival.com for you. I direct Flagstaff Yoga Festival, so that was the easiest place for me to put this gift for you. So if you go to www.flagstaffyogafestival.com/healing-breath, you can there sign up for a series of audio instructions on pranayama, the yoga of breath, that I'll be sending to anyone who wants to go get them there.
Great. Thank you so much, Laura. That's wonderful. And I certainly will take advantage of that as well.
Yeah, it's just a great way to introduce yoga into your life, starting with the breath work first.
Great. Thanks so much for being with me today, and you have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Dawn. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Mwah. Bye.
Bye.